So in this video, I want to talk about the Eminence in the Shadow Season 2, Episode 8. And I won't be going over any spoilers. I just want to be very clear here because one of the things that I'll be talking about is the director's notes. So for those that know what's in the director's notes, they do talk about some spoilers, but I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to read the entire notes. I'm just going to go over what's critical, but I just wanted to make sure that people know there won't be any spoilers. But I did talk about the recent episode last night, about episode 8, and my thoughts were generally pretty straightforward. I enjoyed the episode. I talk about a number of other things, but I enjoyed it. I see it as, yes, it's a bit of filler in between two major arcs. It is anime original, but I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it had to offer. Sure, it had some still shot images. It wasn't some masterpiece Da Vinci Code of animation quality, but what it tried to do, it did perfectly. It was fun, it was silly, it had fan service, it had two characters that got completely tortured. Apparently people really hate those characters. It's like, congratulations, that's the entire point. You're not meant to like them, they're annoying. That is the point. I feel like I say that with a lot of animes, actually, to be honest. It's just funny because I always get attacked for calling out annoying characters, saying, yeah, they're annoying, but they're good for the story to be annoying because it's what they make you do. And then people say, but they're input. It's like, yeah, that's the point. But when it comes to other stories, people say, oh, I hate them, they shouldn't be written. I'm like, yeah, but without them, the rest of it would feel imbalanced. So I understand why people don't like them, but I'm like, that is the point of them. But in the director's notes, they talk about episode 8 and them coming to the decision of making an anime original episode. And they spoke about how they were going to go about it, how they are a massive fan of a certain arc that just finished, which is called the I Love Fake Money arc. That's what they put. But then they were talking about what they were going to do with this episode. Were they going to make something themselves? Or the idea came up of, hey, why don't we ask the author for some input and see what they say. They were concerned that it might delay future work and stuff for the light novels and the web novel, but they decided to do it anyway and just see what the writer would come up with, and the writer decided to write this episode. So this episode, sure, it's anime original, you could see it as filler, but it's written by the author. And if you look at a series like Slime, Reincarnated as a Slime, the OVAs for Slime are actually canon. They're actually written by the author and they are canon and they're part of the main story. And to me, I see this as canon. Now, you've also got the game as well for extra additional context. I'm planning to try and consume the information from the game without playing the game. I know that sounds weird, but I plan to find ways of getting information about the story from the game so I can cover that on the channel, and I am also looking at covering the web novel on this channel as well. So if you do want the web novel content and the game content being covered and analysed and broken down, then definitely support the channel in any way you see fit. Like, comment, send me the love hearts, I don't care. Or if you do want to become a Patreon member, that choice is there to join the private Discord. But because of the fact that the game is canon, I see this episode, anime original, as canon as well. Like, this is written by the author. The author clearly had something in mind, and it does have some tie into the game as well, which was someone pointed out that I was having a chat with about the series, that they really like the series. So, as much as, yes, you can see it anime original, it's technically canon. Now, this is the thing. Does this change people's opinion on how they perceive the episode? Because if that's the case, then you never had a problem with the episode. You just had a problem with it being a non-canon anime original filler. Like, what is the issue with it? Because to me, and again, you'll find to disagree with me, I don't understand where the dislike for this episode comes from, other than people don't like the two guys that were getting tortured. And to be honest, they were barely in the episode as well. Like, 20% of the episode, and most of the time they were just like screaming for their lives because the girls were torturing them. Like, I don't know. I don't really see that as a big problem. I can understand people maybe wanted more Sid, but you also remember in the last episode, Sid talked about giving the girls a bit of a distance. So it actually fits really well, and that's something they actually note in this actual note itself, that they wanted to do something in between these two arcs because of the fact that when the web novel was being written and the light novels, there was a bit of a gap between the stories, and it was clear that the author wanted to take a bit of a break, but it also kind of felt like that in the story as well. So they kind of thought, well, maybe we should add something that's anime original that kind of makes sense of Sid going on a bit of a break. So it actually fits in the story quite well, and that's why I think a lot of people didn't even realize, and that was something I noticed when I was tweeting about it and in the comments, was that people didn't even realize this was anime original. They were just like, oh, is it really? It's like, because it fits so well. It made sense. Sid went on a bit of a break. There were some tickets there, and things just kind of escalated and went kind of crazy. It was one of these girls' crazy, big part of their empire that they've built because of Sid's craziness. I mean, Sid goes out into the snow. He talks about the dragon's tear, and it's just a hot springs, but it's also got some mysticalness to it as well. It follows the whole concept of the Eminence in the Shadow, where Sid says something stupid and it ends up being true. Like, that's the whole premise of the story, really. It's Sid says something stupid, comes true, girls are amazed, they fall in love with him, he's the best thing since sliced bread. That's the story. So it fits well. It's not like it's completely out of place. It's not like they just all decided, oh yeah, it's 6 o'clock, let's go to the beach and get on some bikinis. Like, it kind of makes sense in the story, and they did a good job at those still shot images showing the backstory and all that, and it had some tie into the game as well. So for me, it makes me love the episode even more because it does make sense. But then I asked the question, if you didn't like the episode but now know that this is written by the author, does that make you still not like it? Do you feel like the author just didn't write a good story that they could have done better? Or is it just that you didn't like it because you thought it was a filler episode? Because if that's the case, well, that's kind of been debunked, because the writers put that there as something extra, and the people that were the director felt that this was appropriate because of that gap, because of the fact that Sid wanted to go on that little break, and the writer did also at that time when writing it. It just made logical sense to put it in there. So to me, spot on. It's a brilliant direction. Now, I understand if some people don't like the animation directions because it's all still shots and stuff, but at the same time, it is just there for the fan service. The girls do some funny, crazy stuff. To me, that's what it is. I do feel like a lot of people that were upset because Sid wasn't in the story. But then also at the same time, as I mentioned in the last video, a lot of people don't actually like Sid for some reason. Not a lot of people that I see online, say like on X or Twitter, they say they don't like Sid. So they prefer to just see more of the girls. So I'm like, this is actually a perfect episode for them. So I'd like to see exactly what they think of that. If they're then upset that Sid's not in, then it wouldn't make any sense. But to me, it also gave an opportunity to show some of the other girls, like a certain fox girl, a certain vampire girl, some of the other minor characters, part of the Shadow organization, that they get a little bit of shine. And more beta for me is just brilliant. And I know some people are alpha fans, so they got some more alpha. It just, to me, it gave a little bit extra. And I would love to see, and this is kind of referring to my last video, I would love to see more episodes like this that are anime original, written by the author, that are like OVAs. Do something like what Slime does, where while we wait for season 3, give us a 3-part OVA and just spread them out over the months. Like, you know, you get one OVA every 2 or 3 months while we wait for season 3, and it just gives us something fun to enjoy while we wait, and the writer could just write something up simple, easy, fun for us to all enjoy. Though I do understand some people would be concerned of that because it does take more time away from the web novel and the light novel. But that also being said, I've been told that the web novel has 3 major arcs that are not going to be in the light novel. So that's why we will be reading the web novel, because I want to know what those arcs are about and talk about those arcs, so that anime-only fans that are curious about what's in the light novels and what's in the web novels do know that. But that's the other thing though too, is that the web novel and the light novel are very different. But the light novel to the anime is very close. Like, it's honestly spot on. There's little differences, pacing differences, and that seems to be one of the complaints, is that the pacing and things are cut. But I'm like, not really. There isn't actually any cut content really. Maybe some little bit of dialogue. That's about it. But honestly, you have every major keynote, every major plot point is still in the anime. So to me, I think it's a perfect adaptation. There's even some additional like links in the fight scenes. I did see some people not happy that certain still shots are used again, but that is just maximizing on their budget, maximizing on their resources. That's just what studios do. It's just logical from that point. So for me, the anime's been perfect. Season 1, Season 2 has been absolute spot on, everything that I wanted. I can understand why some people do think Season 2 coming out when it has is a little bit too soon, and giving a little bit more time to cook could have been a good idea. But I feel like Season 2, what it is now, is what we would have got even if we waited an extra 6 months. I just feel like this is the best effort that the director and the team put together, and I take my hat off to them, and I've absolutely been enjoying the ride from start to finish. So again, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will be continuing to read the light novels. I will get into the web novels at some point. I also will get into the game, and I will get into the spin-off side story manga that is about the girls in their younger days. I'll get into all of that at some point, so if you do want to support the channel, any and all support is definitely welcome. So if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.